Thank you so much for tuning in to Life Without Limits broadcast. We got a great one today talking about silent sufferers. You don't want to miss this. And guess who our guest is? My mother, Dr. Phyllis Carter. Welcome to our session. Mommy, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited about being here today to talk about what we really need to talk about, and it's going to help everybody.
Yeah, talking about the PKs, pastors' kids, and how that may have affected not just your girls, but PKs may have dealt with situations and how that looked for them. And it was important when we had episode 1 and episode 2 with my sisters, but it was like, okay, well, how did you feel? So let's get right to it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about you as a mom, you as later became a first lady and then a pastor. And here's the experiences that may not have come early, but showed up in your kids as PKs and how it impacted them. You at some point realized, how did you handle that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. It's very important that how I found out. We were having Thanksgiving dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys were young teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know who started the conversation, but you guys talked about the members of the church, how they offended you in so many different ways. And my husband and I, Bishop Carter, he and I were looking at each other as we were listening to the story. And Tracy was not the only one. I think she started the conversation. And as she started the conversation, Tanya came behind her, and you and Tammy. And my husband and I looked in shock. And my first question and my concern was, Tracy and you guys, why didn't you tell Daddy and I? And her response was, we did not know we could tell on adults. What a great question and answer, because they are children, and these people, what they did was very harmful. And I later found out that sometimes when the bishop and the pastor might reprimand one of the members in the church, or maybe they feel that they're not getting recognition in the church from the mic and someone else is getting it. Feeling offended, being offended is a big word to me, because when people get offended, they do different things that hurt the body of Christ. Mm-hmm. And so when I thought about that, I had to tell you guys, first of all, you could tell on adults. Number one, adults are not perfect. And you might think adults are sweet and they're loving. They're not always loving. They're not always peaceful around children. So they took it out on my kids. They took their pain from Bishop Carter. They could not get him. They knew not to come to me. And so as this conversation started in our dining room, I became aware, and I knew that I had to action. Now what do I do? Number one, how do I help my children as a result of this? I can say that adults are not perfect, and adults have problems of their own, and children don't believe that. My children probably thought that I knew it, and they think that mothers know everything. Mothers don't know everything. And as a result, I knew as a mother, I had to do something to protect my children. They were brought here. They didn't ask to be here. And it's my job as a mother, although I'm a first lady at the time and my husband was the bishop, my job was to take care of my children. I had to correct what happened and to talk to the girls and say, adults are not perfect and they need help, but never, ever allow anyone to come to you and say anything that makes you feel. Feelings are real. They're not always accurate, but feelings are really real. And I always speak to you guys about
Yeah.
how does it feel?
Yeah.
How did it make you feel? It could have made you feel like a little nothing,
Mhm.
and you didn't understand it, and you didn't know if it was going to offend me. In the minds of children, you never know. But my concern, I'm going to fix it,
Right.
because no one is going to mistreat my children. Did I ask? Did I go to these people? No, I would not go to them. It was too late. But I was going to protect my children and let them know, do not allow anyone to say anything unkind. Come running to mommy. I'm going to fix it. Come running to daddy. We're going to fix it. And as a result, I talked to you guys. You know, I talked to you a lot.
Mhm.
And I said, how do you feel now? How do you feel? I used to ask you guys questions about your Sundays, about your teacher at school. I would ask each one of you, do you like your teacher? Just do you like your teacher? And after you said, I love my teacher, does she like you? Because it's different. If you feel you're raising your hand and you're not, the teacher is not responding, that's a problem. How does it make you feel? And that was important.
That's a wonderful response, an absolute wonderful response, because I love it when you said, um, I couldn't go backwards.
Mhm.
I couldn't go backwards and fix because too much time had passed.
Yeah.
However, I can pick up where I'm at and fix what's in us, and giving us an opportunity to allow our voices to be heard. You gave us liberty to speak freely without feeling we could get in trouble
Yeah.
from someone else. Because refuge was a place that I love. It is a safe place. And so we at 11A Washington Place, I will remember more where, you know, the adults was able to chastise
Right.
other adults. That was not foreign.
Mm-mm.
And we didn't feel until we noticed, why are you targeting me? But we said it in our head,
Right.
because, how can adults be chastised when the parents don't know?
Right.
That was important. I am reminded, and I want to bring up something else, being in a place where my parents, you and daddy, y'all would travel back and forth to California. And there was a missionary time where it was a high spirit. It was beautiful. I was around the age of 19 at that time. And in that environment, there was deliverance going forward. And I was not
Oh.
on the deliverance team at all. I was actually wondering why I was lingering behind.
Right.
And when everything had kind of come down, um, some of the leaders said, there's a spirit on you. There's a spirit on you, Tina. And seeing this person go through deliverance and going through whatever is being expelled from that young girl, I felt like, are they on me? Are they on me? And I remember being in the center, and I was scrubbing. I was fully clothed, but I was scrubbing my hands and scrubbing me, saying, get it off of me, get it off of me. And I was crying and I was crying. And I didn't go into the bedroom where Tracy and I had the apartment upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I would not go into my bedroom because I thought the spirits was in there.
Mm.
And I didn't know the difference at that time. So how would you look today to help a parent
Okay.
who's a leader, maybe not pastors, but they're leaders in the church,
Okay.
or PKs, the pastors and leaders? What would you say to them about being careful how they handle other people's children?
Okay. One of something that's very important. I worked at a conference recently, and one of the mothers at this particular conference talked about her daughter, a very pretty daughter. She was about maybe 3 or 4. And a lot of different churches, which I don't encourage, a lot of different churches want to take your baby and keep passing them on. And then somebody else wants to touch them. You have no idea the spirit that other people have on them.
Wow.
You have no idea generational curses that are on different people. Now, I'm not saying to anyone that is listening to be careful. You don't know if it's generational. No. I want you to be sensitive. I want you to begin being sensitive. Who keeps holding your child? And this woman would not allow it. And I was so happy to hear that. I remember a situation where I went to visit this church, and I knew the pastor and the first lady very, very well. And every time I went and visited this church, I saw someone else was always holding the children. And I said, why isn't the mother? Every now and then, you can always have someone else watching your children for you. If the mother, I know at times I would sing in the choir and I would ask certain people, could you watch my child? And it was so painful when I thought about, and I said to her, I need you to be more careful. This person is the only person that I see holding your children. And this first lady respected me. I loved her when she was younger. Now she's an adult. And I was able to speak to her. Be very careful. What is she saying to you guys? She had 4 children or 3 children. Be careful. Please be careful. So when I speak at a conference, I speak to those issues and let people, women, know these children were given to you by God. And it's so important that you just present your children to God and begin to speak life. I spoke life to you a lot. I said, Tina, do you know you're beautiful? Tina, do you know you're special? Tina, I don't know if you liked it, but I began to do that. I remember a particular situation where we had a church business meeting. Everybody that's listening, you know about church business meetings. I don't like them. We don't have them anymore. I don't like church business meetings. And one of the deacons, it wasn't the head deacon, it was one of the deacons that was back talking Bishop Carter. You were sitting next to me, and you didn't like that at all. And you touched me, and I said, wait till we get home. And when we got home, I spoke to you, and I said, there are times when you're having a business meeting and all men don't agree. And even though Bishop is the pastor, sometimes they get heated, but the next minute they respect the bishop. And so I began to sit you down and then explain what happened. And I said, now, Tina, the next time you see this deacon talking to Daddy, I want you to see what you see that's different. And I needed to spend time talking about not the people that hurt you guys. I couldn't go backwards, but I began to let you know that I love you, Daddy loves you, and whatever the situation is, we will correct it. There was a situation where one of you, I don't know who it was, that said, Mommy, why do we have to go to bed so early that Daddy gets home late? And on Sunday morning, Daddy's always playing with the other kids. But then Daddy doesn't have time to play with us because we have to go to bed and get up early for school. And I knew I needed to correct that. So Daddy and I, we talk and went in the bedroom, and I explained. He says, honey, I'm going to fix it. Anytime we have a discussion about anything, heated discussion or just having a discussion about you guys never know. about what's going on. And I let you know that we love you. Don't let another adult lay hands on you. Don't let them speak unkind words to you, which makes you feel sad. Don't let not, before you didn't know you can tell on adults, please come running to me, because that is something critical that can affect your whole lifetime. I remember in school, there was a teacher that called Tanya out of her name. And Tanya must have been, I don't know, maybe 10, 12, in front of the whole class. And I took off like a bandit. I didn't go to work that day. And I addressed the teacher, and she went to the principal, and the principal's telling me that she has problems at home. Well, tell her not to come to school for about a month. Take a break, because I want her job. And to let my children see me in action, protecting them, is crucial. Don't do it behind their back, but let them know. Tanya came home crying and telling me what the teacher called her. That was not going to ever happen again. And so I needed to show my children, not to say, I love you, but I'm going to show it in action.
Right.
Which is important.
This is great information that you're giving us. I am filled with joy. But, I still want to kind of look again at the situation. We talked about you as the wife and you as the mother and the pastor, and how we can choose to say, I don't think you should be touching my child. I like something you said. You said, well, let me just say, I like everything you said. But when you said, I needed to go to the teacher and say, you're not going to do this to my child. What I pick from that is that for all that, because she was, you said 10 to 12. So at this time, we were not revealing how we have felt, right. Whether it was in school, whether it was home, we weren't revealing that. But what you said today was, it's important that I tell them, even now, I got to affirm you. I've got to pour into you. And it wasn't just a me thing, but it's what you did to all four of us. So we are now in a place where all of us are ordained. I'm a pastor, and we're all in ministry. What steps did you make to look at your girls, right? I call us the
flowers.
The flowers. What steps did you take to say, I can't go backwards, but today, this is what I'm doing? What steps to help someone outside?
Well, first of all, you have to recognize that people judge very often. They judge how I should look as a first lady. Right. They should judge their pastor, and then they judge. And they need to be sensitive to children, all children, and they're not. So that when I went up to sing with the choir, and I asked someone to watch my children, then one of the adults said, but they're chewing gum. Well, all these kids are chewing gum. Right. Why do you single my children? I knew then, keep my kids to myself.
Yeah. Sit in the first 5 rows.
5 first rows. If I'm singing in the choir, then you'll sing with me. Now I have to really begin to authenticate my children, their identity. People don't care that they go and say anything to our children. They're PKs, pastors' kids, and you're not going to abuse my children. So I began to talk to you, and I talked to all 4 of you.
Yeah.
How is it right now that all 4 of you are ordained elders and you do not hold bitterness in your heart? And I know that that's what took place. Once I knew what people were doing to my children. And I'm sure they do it to other children, but predominantly PKs. And so because of that, my children did not come back and talk about this person and that person. They came to me, and I would adjust what was happening. And I would say, adults have problems. Adults have problems too. And they take it and put it on you guys. But don't hold hatred and bitterness in their heart. Just come to me and I will straighten it out. Like when I went to school about that teacher and the principal wanted to protect the teacher, I said, how dare you protect her? If she has a problem in her family and her husband wants to leave her, give her a break. She cannot deal with these children.
Right.
And so the same thing, I make sure I watch. I'm sitting in church, but I'm watching who's talking to my child. And I might, after we get home, and I'll say, honey, what was Sister So-and-so saying to you? What were y'all talking about? That was important.
Yeah.
And the woman that slapped you as an usher, I think it was 2 months later, you were in the bathroom with this sister and you began to celebrate her. You look so pretty. And
it was a year later.
It was a year later. And she said, oh, you're better than I am. Well, there was immaturity.
I didn't know she wasn't talking to me.
Yeah. And you're the child. But that was okay. At least now you're learning something about adults. Adults are not perfect.
Right.
And they have problems. But I'm protecting my children.
Right.
So now I ask more questions to each of you. How was school? What's going on at church? And you might have had a few problems with some of the young people, but not much. It was adults. It was adults that were trying. They were probably angry with Bishop for something, or I don't know what the case is.
Right.
But they was not going to put a hand on you emotionally,
Right.
psychologically, emotionally, absolutely not.
Right.
And I was more careful. Now, when I speak at conferences, I talk to first ladies. Watch your children. And that's why I wrote the book, The Pastor's Silent Sufferers, because what happened, I needed to apologize to you guys. The silent sufferers. In my book, I apologize. I have 12 statements that I make. I apologize for not knowing what was happening. I apologize. And y'all read my book. And I apologize in person and in my book. And I talk about protect your children.
This book, this is the book that Dr. Carter is referring to. And you actually also, you dedicated this book to us. And when I got the book, I remember like, what did I do to get a book? I didn't know. I was like, do I have to read the whole thing? Because we lived in Uniondale at the time.
Yes.
And I was like, it's a lot of reading. But as we got older, it really was like I didn't realize I was silently suffering because amongst my sisters, I felt like we felt the same way. You know, Tracy was silenced twice, and I didn't understand what she did wrong. I understood that in one case she was pregnant, but she had backslid, and then she came back to the Lord, and
Silenced again.
It was like, okay, you have to be silenced. I was like, oh wow, oh, okay. I guess I didn't understand at my age, and so this book really. I've read it more than one time. I needed to look at this over and over, and each time I got something so different from it. And I just wish everybody would take a moment to sit down and open up this book and really get out of it what you need, because the book was dedicated to us, because by that time we were at an age where we were able to communicate. I remember, I think it was Dynasty and we would watch Dynasty.
I remember.
And we would all go, and you came in with us, and we was like, "Mommy, you okay?" You was like, "I want to watch this with you guys." And it was something that we all did together, like bringing the family together, bringing the conversations together, not holding back, not hiding, but bringing that. And I learned that from you.
And I recall in Uniondale, y'all had a playroom.
Yes, it was the den.
Yes, and a couple of times I said, I'm going in there and I'm going to watch TV with them, or I'm just going to go and sit with them. And y'all looked at me, Mommy, what you doing here? I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I began to think of all kinds of things that I can do to show children, my children, that they're special. Because Daddy and I would watch TV in our room, and then y'all was in the playroom. No, I'm coming out, and I'm going in the room. So it helped me to become more sensitive, and not only for myself. I need to enhance other first ladies and let them know your children are so critical to your life. And so this is important, that children know they're loved at home, and they can fight their own battles.
They can fight
as you get older. Learn how to fight your battles. Speak up to adults without being disrespectful. You can do that.
You can ask questions.
You can ask
say,
questions.
Did you think I did something, or did things like that? You said, I sat with my girls. I talked to them, and I let them ask questions. But I went to Daddy one time, and I shared with him that there was an elder in the church who had said, I want to talk to you. And that elder put me in the prayer room, because we're at 106 Broadway, and told me that this person was my age, but was an elder.
He wasn't an officer?
No, he was an elder.
Oh, he was an elder, yeah.
And began to tell me some things I was doing wrong, and that I needed to fix it. And I thought to myself, well, who made you the captain?
You told him that?
Because
That's
we're the same
wonderful.
age. We're the same age.
That's wonderful.
And it sat with me. Like, we had the conversation. I wasn't happy about the conversation, but at the same time, it stayed heavy on me. So I went. Saturday was a lot of choir rehearsals and things like that. And when I left, I went home, and just Daddy was working on his message, and I was sitting there. And I was like, I'm going to bring this up because it's still sitting with me. And so I said, can I share something with you, Daddy? He was like, yeah. And I shared with him who I was talking to, what was said, and all of this stuff, and how it was resolved. And he said, well, how do you feel about that? I said, I just felt like, well, who made you the captain of this situation? Like, why are you saying that to me? And I'm not an elder, but at that point, I wasn't going to respect him like that. But I had that conversation, and he said, well, I'm glad that, you said something. I'm glad you said something. I said, I feel better. So I went upstairs and did what I needed to do. And I found out the next day, after Sunday service, Daddy pulled me in the office, and he said, I'll close that door. I want you to know I spoke to him, and he's never, ever going to talk to you like that again.
See that?
And I mean, that gave me superpower.
You were Superwoman.
Oh, I was Superwoman. I had the bracelet. I had it all. And I felt...
What a great feeling.
Affirmed. I felt seen. I felt heard. I felt like my daddy is bigger than your daddy, and you not gonna mess. My God don't play about me, and my daddy don't play about me. And I felt,
I loved it.
I felt so, I don't even know if Daddy shared that with you,
I don't remember.
but
He
it
might
was
have.
something that was empowering. So later, when another minister my age came and said something to me, he wanted me to do something, and I said, "Well, why don't you do it?" Because I'm just like, what is with all this? We're not about to do this. And he said, "I'm gonna put a curse on you." I said, I can't put a curse on a fly. I did say it.
Oh,
I
I'm so
said,
proud of you.
"You couldn't put a curse on a fly. Go somewhere." And I meant it. Because
Of
I'm not
course.
going to do what you told me to do. Because if Bishop told you to do it, then you go do it. I'm not your flunky. Well, after that, I was just telling everybody whatever I
Telling
wanted
everybody
to.
off.
But I needed to back up a little bit. But
I'm proud of you.
I
Yes.
know you would give us $1.
Oh, I would give you $10.
$2. Okay, did you say that to that person?
That's right.
Oh,
Let me give you some
give me
money.
my purse. Go get me my purse. I'm giving you $5.
I sure did.
And people don't know
Yeah.
they have rights, but when you've not been affirmed,
Right.
and when you have
Right.
not been lifted up, when you've not been given volume to your voice,
Volume.
then
Yes.
it's hard for you to
Yes.
know what you can and cannot do. But as for me, and I'm saying this to everybody that can hear me, as for me, you have rights to have a voice as well.
I remember giving you guys money because you would spend too much time telling me about what somebody did to you. I said, but wait a minute, stop your story. And what did you do?
Mhm.
And if you didn't do anything, I said, go back. Go back. And if you affirmed yourself,
Yeah.
I went in my pocketbook and gave you money.
You sure did. And I was so happy. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I got $5.
Right. You're going to be telling everybody off. Yeah. Because he was your age. And that's interesting that you would say that.
We were co-laborers. We sang in the Jubilee choir, and I was like, get out of here. I'm not listening to you.
I love it.
But I want to, in a place where we can bring a close to,
let me just say,
speak to the audience.
Let me just say this, that children are not born into ministry. Children are not born into ministry. As a child, I was not born into ministry. And so you guys were not born into ministry.
Right.
And people have tremendous expectations for you. And I don't know where they get it from, but they want somebody to hear their voice.
Yeah.
And so you guys are not born into ministry. And people mistaken that. And they'll say, you shouldn't be doing that. Your father is a bishop. So what? My father is my father. And so it's very important that you can correct adults in a very respectful way. And they might think it's disrespectful. Well, go speak to my mother.
Right.
Go speak to my mother and see what she says. Because I'm going to tell my mother what you just told me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's important. You went to your father. And what I liked about Daddy, he had wisdom. He didn't say what he thought to you, but he knew he was going to crash him and say, don't you ever speak to my daughter and tell my daughter thus and so. So it's all about correction. And when you look at the past, and I need to bring that up, we do what other people have told us. Do this, do that.
Yeah.
That's another generation. We're in a new generation.
Yeah.
And we will speak. We will crash the ceiling. The ceiling is going to be crashed. We have a mouth.
Yeah.
We're not muted. The women, Samaritan women, they were muted. The woman at the well, when Jesus asked her, bring your husband here. How many husbands do you have? And bring him here. She says, I have none. You speak truth.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? And he didn't stay on that topic.
Mhm.
He just wanted to see if she was going to tell the truth, because he was Jesus. He knew everything about her. And that's how Jesus is. He's not going to penalize you because these men had sex with you.
Mhm.
He's not. He knew it was never your fault. Nobody blamed the man. Always blame the woman. But God has freed us. We're not muted.
Yeah.
And you have a voice. Every one of my flowers. You are my flowers. You, each and every one of you, have a voice.
Yes.
Have a magnificent voice. I remember one time, and this is in closing, Tammy was younger, and she's the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me one day the teacher said something or did something. I said, Tammy? Somebody said, a teacher? I said, well, I'm going to take off tomorrow, and I'm going to deal with that situation. And then a couple of hours later or that morning, she said, oh, Mommy, you don't have to. You don't have to. Now, I could take a position. I could take the position that maybe she just wanted attention. But when I think B plan, Tammy does not like confrontation. Tammy, till today, she does not like conflict. If you call her and say, girl, I'm going to talk about somebody, not to me.
Yeah.
She does not
Peacemaker.
like that at all. So maybe that was her B plan. She did not like confrontation at all. And today, she's 55, 56, going on 56. She doesn't like confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been A or B. But the important thing that I needed to relate to her, I'm going to take off whether they pay me or not.
Mm-hmm.
You are more important than a paycheck.
Yeah.
And that's what I constantly said to each of you, that you are more than a role. And you are not a role. People put you in a role. Put me in a role, First Lady. Expectations. You don't have expectations on me, nor Bishop, but people will do that, which is important to relate. And I hope that those of you who are listening, you will be aware, more aware at this point. Maybe you never noticed, but it's time for each and every one of us, even if you're not a First Lady, but if you are a First Lady, please be sensitive to your children and understand that that's your responsibility to love, protect your children so that they will more than survive. They will become great in God, not because of people, but because of God.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today was episode 3, which is dealing with the silent sufferers. And we are moving ahead, healed, and really in a place where we can be free. Dr. Carter gave us steps, tools, and the things that we need to get better. This is a safe place, and I want you to know life without limits can and will be yours. Thank you so much for our 3rd episode, and more to come.